What is up, guys? Top Tier Yu-Gi-Oh here, and today we have the Burning Abyss Orcust deck profile. And if you missed the other videos, the main premise of this deck is that if we open up with Rhino Warrior and any other Burning Abyss, or 3 Burning Abyss monsters, any of them, we're able to end with Beatrice, Galatea, Dingirsu, and Crescendo. The Beatrice will have Dante as material, and the Dingirsu will also have materials as well. But this is a really tough board for a lot of decks to break, and usually when you end on this board, you win the game. And so I got to play this deck at a regional and at an OTS to get some pretty good testing. And I'm at a point where I think I'm ready to share this deck. But what I will do actually is upload an updated profile later in the week. So look forward to that. But this is where I am right now. And before getting into the profile, if you are interested in some of the combos, like how we turn either of these two hands into this board, check out the combo video that I already uploaded. A link with that will be in the cards. The YouTube cards, not, these cards. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the profile. This Orcust deck that I've been playing for the past couple of weeks. Played it at a regional last week, at an OTS championship this week. 5th place at the OTS, so not terrible. But this is the build. For the monsters, Tour Guide, Seer, Graph, 3 Rhino Warrior, 3 Scar.
It's a countdown.
That's not 3 Scarms. 3 Scars. Cowcap, 3 Farfa, Alec, Barbar, Rubik, and Libic. So these are the Burning Abyss monsters I played. I want to play a lot of them because in most of my hands, I want Burning Abyss cards because these are what enable a lot of the combos. They're all extenders pretty much. And their graveyard effects are pretty good too. Like against Salamangreat, if you chain Alec or chain Beatrice to a Gazelle, then you can dump Alec and Alec can negate the Gazelle. Farfa's obviously good. Cowcap's good if you're worried about back row. I burned a lot of people for game with Barbar. Like literally every time you go first in like a few minutes left, you just make Beatrice dump Barbar and you win. So that came up. I also beat somebody with like Tour Guide into Barbar, make a Dante detach. So Dante goes up to 25, Barbar burns for 900, attack over a monster. So Barbar was good.
The Alec interaction reminds me of that thing in Monarch format.
Yeah, it's just like that actually. Then for the Orcust cards, it's 1 Harp, 2 Skeletons, and 2 Nightmares. I went with this ratio because you want 2 Nightmares, obviously, because you don't want to draw multiples, or you don't want to draw 1 because it just makes your deck terrible and unplayable. And then I went with 2 Skeletons over 2 Harps, because Harp doesn't interact with the deck that well, but Symbol Skeletons doesn't, just because it's a level 3 monster. And so if you open 2 BAs and Symbol Skeletons, it's going to be your full combo to where you have Beatrice plus your whole Orcust play. Whereas if you have the same thing with Harp, yeah, you're gonna have your Orcust plays, but you're not gonna have that Beatrice, and so it's not as good. And like if you're gonna have cards that you're gonna potentially normal summon and destroy half of your deck, you want it to at least synergize a little bit versus the Harp not doing anything.
In the future, would you want to play 1 Edgem Sabers instead of 2 Nightmare? Because that way, if you open the 1, you can make Edgem and stack this, and then mill it with Dante.
That's questionable. Because, I mean, you could do that, but then it becomes a question of what you do with your Cherubini. Like, do you use Cherubini to dump that? Or do you do what you normally do and dump Graph to get Seer? And so it's kind of... It would be good if you already have Rhino Warrior to get the Seer out, but if you don't, then it's not maybe a sacrifice I'd be willing to make. Alright, so I don't think I answered this question very well, so I just wanted to expand upon it here. And so... the main reason why you play 2 Orcust Nightmares, and what I think the best reason is because if you draw one of them, you're still able to combo as normally because you have a second one in your deck. And so you can go through your same exact combo, even discarding the Nightmare for it, and then just continue your normal play. The problem though when you only play 1 Nightmare and 1 Edgem Saber, whatever the one is, the problem when you only play 1 Nightmare and 1 of those is that you cannot proceed with your play as normal. And so in the normal play, you get to this board by using Cherubini's effect to dump Graph or Libic, and that's going to be how you summon your Seer. But if you drew the Nightmare, what you would have to do if you only played 1 is instead, you would have to use Cherubini to dump Edgem Sabers, and then Sabers would, put the Scissors back in your deck, and then you would do your Orcust combo. But again, the problem is you're not getting to Seer. And even though you're able to do your Orcust combo, being able to do that without having your Seer or most of your Burning Abyss plays, it really takes away a lot of the power from it. And so I find that the deck is a lot more powerful by just playing the 2 Orcust Nightmares. And you're still playing 2 bricks, and so it's about the same level of consistency as well. Now, there are certain hands where you like to have Edgem Sabers to where, let's say you have Fiendish Rhino Warrior and another Burning Abyss. Then, yeah, you can use Fiendish Rhino Warrior to dump Graph and summon Seer, and you have Cherubini to kind of send whatever you want. And that type of hand sending the Edge Imp card is really good because it's a free summon. Because this deck actually has no free summons off of Cherubini outside of Graph, so having the second one would be nice, but it isn't worth playing a card that has no other function in the deck outside of when you draw either really bad or really, really good hands. Like, it's not very good in your average hand at all. And so that is why I choose not to play Edge Imp Scissors? I keep forgetting which one it is, but it's the level 3 one that you add a card from your hand back into the top of your deck to summon it from the graveyard. Whichever one that is. Let me know in the comment section which one that is. But that's why I don't play it. Then for the extenders, I played 2 Psychic Wielders, which is it for the extenders. I wanted to play more. Ideally, I would have played at least some Psychic Trackers on top of that, or maybe Emergency Teleport, maybe some Dangers. I think 2 Snake, 2 Jackalope would be really good. But this is really all I can get my hands on, and so that's what I played. And it was good. I mean, it's only a 2-up, so I didn't see it very often, but it was good. For the hand traps, 3 Veiler and 3 Ash. I felt that these were probably the most generic ones because they're kind of good in all the major matchups against Striker, against Orcust, against Salamangreat. Both of these are good, versus most of the other hand traps are only good in like maybe 2 of the 3 different matchups, but these are good in all of them. However, I would actually consider cutting the Veilers despite them being good, just because the deck already has too many non-combo pieces. A big problem that I have is just not drawing the combo pieces. Sure, I play a lot of them, but you need more. Like, you can play 30 combo pieces, but the 10 non-combo cards are 10 non-combo cards. So, they might get cut. For the spells, I played 3 Instant Fusion, 3 Twin Twisters, 3 Mystic Minds, and 1 Orcust field spell. Instant Fusion's obvious. Like, Thousand Eyes Restrict is really good. Wind is really good. Like, this is a must-have in any Orcust deck. Mystic Mind was also pretty good because it allowed for my bad hands to be at least playable to where I could stall for a few turns maybe and then draw into my plays. But the one downside, though, is that when you do that, your opponents, like, while you're drawing into your cards, your opponents may be drawing into extra outs. Like, they might be drawing into hand traps or into their actual traps. If they're playing Striker or Salad, they're drawing into, like, Widow Anchors. They're drawing into that Rage or that Roar, whatever that other card could be. And so it's kind of risky in that regard, but I did enjoy playing it. It was actually pretty good. Twin Twister, though, was easily the worst card in this deck. Every time I drew it, I wanted to just burn my entire hand because against none of the matchups it's super impactful. Like, against Salad, like, yeah, you're going to destroy your Rage or a Roar, but they're going to add it back, so you're going to lose 2 cards, and, like, they're virtually not losing anything. Against Orcust, they're going to just protect their counter trap with Dingirsu. Against Striker, like, they have more than you can destroy with the Twin Twisters, and, like, it's not the problem.
You think you would have played Cosmic?
Yeah, I definitely would have maybe played 2 Cosmic, and then had 1 extra spot for, like, an extender or, like, just something else. Probably an extender, but not this. But I definitely would have went with Cosmic, just because Cosmic doesn't have those same problems. You're not discarding a card to do it either. Because another thing that comes up is in the main combo, you're discarding for Mermaid, you're losing a BA to make the Beatrice. You don't want to also discard for the Twin Twister, because you're losing too much out of your hand and not having enough to really do the play. You're also not resolving Skarm if you do that. And so you're using your entire hand pretty much, and then you're ending on, like, 2 negates, which isn't amazing. So you don't want to use all of your resources and then still not have an auto-win board. And so Twin was also not good for that. And then the last card is Crescendo.
Yep. Extra deck.
For the extra deck, Beatrice, Dante, Cherubini for the Burning Abyss monsters.
Is that a common Dante?
Yeah, Cherubini, Dante, Beatrice. I would consider actually bumping up Dante to 2. The second one came up a couple of times today to where I just needed something else to do with my Burning Abyss monsters, because they literally don't do anything sometimes. And so after you make your first push where you use your Nightmares, you use up your Dante, you use your Cherubini, you look at the rest of your extra deck and you have your 2 Burning Abyss monsters and you're like, this doesn't do anything. And so a second maybe Dante would be useful. For the Orcust cards, 1 Dingirsu, 1 Longirsu, and 2 Galatea. Second Dingirsu is definitely something that I'm going to add into the deck. Just because, especially in the Orcust mirror, and I guess in most matchups, against Salad, against Striker, you grind a lot. And Seer and Dante, they give you a really good ability to grind. Like, the BA cards are great for that. But so are the Orcust cards, and so you really want to, like, optimize that engine by playing second Dingirsu. So that's definitely a change I would make. Then, let's see, for the Nightmares, Unicorn, Phoenix, and Mermaid. I thought about playing Cerberus, but it really just didn't come up enough. And these were the ones that were most useful, I'd say. And then Underclock, Topologic, and Boral Sword. Self-explanatory. Something else that I want to briefly expand on is playing Topologic Bomber Dragon Orcust field spell. This is something that I'm considering cutting because I found that in a lot of games, I choose to go into the counter trap play versus going into the Bomber Dragon play. And one of the main reasons for that is because the counter trap play is a lot easier to follow up with. With Bomber Dragon, it's like, if they are able to deal with the Bomber Dragon, and there are many ways for a lot of decks to do it, then you really don't have very many other options because you have the field spell, so it kind of cuts off all your Burning Abyss cards. So it has a bit of negative synergy in that regard, and that really, really hurts the rest of the deck. Not to mention, even if it stays on the board, it also affects your ability to kind of go in and OTK your opponent because it's going to, keep blowing up your main monster zone. And so it's kind of difficult. I also feel that most decks can play around it relatively easily. Like in the mirror match, they have Called by the Grave, they have Instant Fusion, they have maybe Cosmic Cyclone. There's so many different ways that they can disrupt your combo, not to mention, some other hand traps. So there's so many different ways to deal with this. Against Sky Striker, well, you don't make this against Sky Striker anyways, but against Salamangreat, they have Rage and Roar, which they can just set and then wait for you to do it because you're probably not killing them with just Bomber Dragon. Because honestly, the most you can do with Bomber Dragon on the board is probably like Bomber Dragon, Dingirsu, and maybe one other monster, but that's probably not game. And so they probably don't die. And so it's really, really difficult. Also, Foxy. So Foxy just deals with this immediately. And they play 3 Foxy, 3 Signet Mining, 1 Circle. So it's really easy to get the Foxy, or Gazelle can dump Foxy. Plenty of ways to get the Foxy, and they just, destroy the field spell, and then your Bomber Dragon's dead. What a shame. And so I'm really considering cutting this just due to negative synergy and the lack of impact that it seems to have but compared to the other play. And so that's something that I'm certainly thinking about. Let me know what you feel about that in the comment section, actually. But yeah, back to the video. Explanatory. Underclock Taker just comes up in some Burning Abyss plays. It's maybe cuttable, but it did come up today, actually, to where I just needed to, I'd already used my Phoenix, and I just needed to link something away in order to get my Seer's Effect to bring back a Dante and continue to play in combo and link up.
You could always play Lambda and Gamma.
This deck has enough bad cards. I can't add another one. But yeah, that's also an option. But this is dark. Is Lambda dark? It actually is Lambda light.
I think it's light. But don't you do that play before the Orcust play?
Yeah, you're right.
Because how can Seer bring back Dante if...
Yeah.
Yeah, Lambda is a good generic link too. And,
yeah, why did I play this card? Why did this happen?
That's what friends are for.
And then finally, Wenda and Thousand Eyes Restrict. Both of these were solid. I mean, theoretically, I actually didn't resolve Instant Fusion once. And so I never summoned either one of them. But in theory, they're both good. I mean, for obvious reasons.
And then side deck?
For the side deck, 2 Lancia, 2 Nibiru. I would definitely play a third if I had it, but these aren't mine. 3 Pankratops, 3 Anti-Spells, Order, 3 Evenlies, and 1 Return. I like Return a lot, actually, just because...
I also like the Return.
Yeah, it came up a lot in against Striker, to where nothing the engine does is going to beat Striker. Their engine beats your engine, so you have to have one of these cards to actually win. And so I just want to optimize my ability to get to them, and Return allows me to do that. Because just searching for Crescendo, you get the 1 negate, but that's 1 negate, and their deck plays for free. And so I'd rather have one of these 4 cards, which is probably going to win me the matchup. And then that's what I'd side against Striker. Against Salamangreat, I actually don't side too much. I feel like my deck can beat Salamangreat, so I'll usually just side in the Nibiru.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm playing against most going second decks, or when I'm going second most of the time, these would come in depending on how I felt.
Evenly on the Orcust board, or he baits the counter trap at least.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, against Orcust, these would go in. So if I was going second against Orcust, I would side these in. I mean, but I would also side this in going first against Orcust, so there's a lot of ways you can kind of play around with it. But the side deck overall, I would say was pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. But that's the deck.
All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What's up, guys? TopTierYugioh here live. Another... Oh, shit.